Hello everyone, this is Mr. Revox1256 and welcome to my playthrough of Ratchet & Clank for the PlayStation 2. You might be wondering why am I starting this channel with Ratchet & Clank. That is because this is my favorite franchise of all time. Especially the PlayStation 2 games. I am an okay fan of the PS3 games, however when it comes to the PlayStation 2 games, I always come back to those. I never get bored. I never say, oh fuck this, I'm gonna play something else. Never. While with the PS3 games, sometimes I get bored. The PS3 games are a bit repetitive and a bit boring in my opinion. Games post a crack in time, they're absolutely god-awful. All for One is a joke. I haven't even touched Q-Force. I haven't even bloody updated Nexus. And I haven't even played that game, but from what I saw, there was nothing in the game that compelled me to play it. I played the reboot, however, the reboot is terrible. It's a horrible game with poor cutscenes, terrible acting, and it's just an inferior game to the PlayStation 2 version, which we are playing right now. This game is also available for the PlayStation 3 via their Trilogy Collection, and on PS Vita via the same Trilogy Collection. However, because I don't have a PS Vita, and its very expensive capture card, we won't be recording that version, and because I am not the biggest fan of Ratchet & Clank Trilogy Collection, mostly because they changed too much. Well, for example, there are graphical glitches which annoy the hell out of me. The PAL version of Ratchet 2 is actually fucked beyond repair. If you played it in America, if you play the American version of the trilogy, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But the PAL version is fucked. It was rushed to the market. It shouldn't even be... It should not have been released in that state. And Ratchet 3... they changed their HUD color scheme to piss yellow from caramel brown. I have no idea why, but when it comes to Ratchet & Clank games, I like to play the original versions on the original hardware. But thankfully, I have the FrameMeister, which enhances the quality a little bit, so we won't have any dazzle shenanigans on this channel, mostly because my old Dazzle has unfortunately passed away. And yeah, I think it should be illegal to record Dazzle footage in the year of 2019. You can still buy Dazzle brand new, and they still make them for some reason, but nowadays HD capture cards are quite cheap, especially used, so yeah, I think it's best to start your channel with an HD capture card. However, of course, some HD capture cards don't cooperate with certain consoles. For example, HD PVR, the original HD PVR, and HD PVR 2, they absolutely fucking despise the PlayStation 2 footage. Because every time there's a cutscene or an FMV cutscene, the screen syncs up, which fucks up the entire recording. It's horrible. Good luck recording anything on HD PVR with PlayStation 2. Oh, anything PlayStation 2 with HD PVR. Sorry, English is not my first language, so I'm improvising on the go. But yeah. And of course, some HD capture cards don't support all resolutions, so yeah. You may have a reason to use a Dazzle then, but since I possess the FrameMeister, I have no excuses, basically. So if you see a Dazzle, you can probably type, "What the fuck are you doing, Mr. Revox? Why do I see Dazzle on my video screen?" But yeah, I think we're getting a bit sidetracked right now. So yeah, Ratchet & Clank. I was first introduced to this game in the year of 2003. The game came out in the year of 2002, however it was until a year later when I got properly introduced to the series. So it all started when my friend's mum bought him a PlayStation 2 from Germany, and she bought him Jak and Daxter. the precursor Legacy. While we were struggling to comprehend how to use an analog stick because we couldn't figure out that starting with PS2 analog sticks are mandatory, I checked the box of Jak and Daxter and I found a cool looking map. But also inside the box there was a leaflet which was promoting Ratchet Clank. And when I first saw the leaflet and I first saw the screens, I was like, this game looks very weird. And I tossed the leaflet aside and I continued playing Ratchet Clank. Few months later, my friend acquired a copy of Ratchet Clank, and I only saw the first 3 planets before I had to go home, and then he already had Ratchet 2 and Ratchet 3. But when I saw a gameplay of Ratchet 3, I was like, this series looks interesting. My dear friend, can I borrow your copy of Ratchet Clank 1? And he was like, yeah, sure, why not? And I borrowed the copy. And I played it. I struggled with the game, mostly because I wasn't used to the shenanigans of this game. It's hard to describe. I was basically retarded when I was young. But yeah, this game is not really that hard. Of course, your first time will be a bit challenging, but afterwards, this game will be a breeze. It is also safe to say that this is like the easiest Ratchet game ever made. I am not including the games that have difficulty options because yeah, there are also the easiest if you set them too easy. But yeah, the original 4 games and the 2 PSP games and the first 3 PS3... No! The first PS3 game, they had no difficulty options. And yeah, Deadlocked had the difficulty option. I completely forgot that Deadlocked had the difficulty options. But yeah, so I borrowed the game, played it, I enjoyed it. Then I borrowed the second one, I played it, I actually beat it. They couldn't beat the final boss of 2, which is kind of funny because the final boss of Ratchet 2 is piss easy once you get the proper equipment to destroy the boss. But yeah. And then my friend had a pirate copy of Ratchet 3, which kinda annoyed me because I wanted to borrow the game, but I couldn't because his PS2 by then was modded, mine was not. So, I think it was Christmas of 2005, I asked for Ratchet Clank 3, which I have gotten. It was a platinum version, and I played the hell out of it. I even accidentally deleted my save file, and I still enjoyed the playthrough again because I love Ratchet 3. Ratchet 3 and Ratchet 2 are my favorite in the franchise. That doesn't mean that the first one sucks. I like playing it, but when it comes to coming back to the series, I always come back to either 2 or 3. But yeah.
Take care of it.
The plot. It's time to talk about the plot. So, as you probably figured out, Ratchet is a Lombax who wanted to leave his planet Veldin. Unfortunately, he was missing a component which allowed him to use the ship, and that component was called Robotic Ignition System. Meanwhile, on planet Quartru, Clank was created. He's actually a defect. He was created in Drek's robot factory, and Drek is our main villain. So Clank found an infobot which coincidentally had the entire plan of our villain, and he decided to be a good bot and decided to escape. Unfortunately, he got shot down, and he landed on planet Veldin when he met with Ratchet, and because Clank is a robot, he possessed the robotic ignition system. So Ratchet and Clank struck a deal. If Clank launches the ship, Ratchet will have to take him to Captain Quark. And this is where our adventure begins. As you saw earlier, Drek was not happy that someone left Veldin, so he sent someone to take care of it. At the same time, he has this meeting with the chairman of planet Novalis, which he is attacking right now because he wants the piece of the planet. And why he wants Novalis? It's actually not described in the game. However, if you read up on it, it turns out that Chairman Drek wants the piece of Novalis because of its very well crafted sewer system. And of course, Drek wants to destroy planets to create his own synthetic one, because his original planet, Auxon, is polluted to the point you cannot live there normally. So, literally, Auxon is a wasteland. So he's creating a new planet for his race, so they can live on. But yeah, so as you saw, our ship crash landed. We cannot escape this planet for now. And that means we cannot go back to Veldin, because currently we do not possess the coordinates for Veldin. And that's actually intentional, because the developers did not want Ratchet to come back to Veldin just yet. They decided to destroy the ship which possessed the coordinates. So, story-wise and gameplay-wise, we cannot go back to Veldin. Because, spoilers, Veldin is the last level in the game. And you might be saying, "Oh, Revox, why are you spoiling this game? This game is, like, not brand new, it's ancient." Well, I am not saying who are we fighting, I haven't said any plot twists, so therefore I am not spoiling the game entirely. I have no idea why I sound like a douchebag, but oh well, we collected our first gold bolt. So, gold bolts are interesting. In the first game, they are used to unlock special goodies after you beat the game, and also you can use them to buy special gold weapons, which are the more powerful version of the original weapons. But I haven't decided yet if I am gonna purchase a gold bolt weapon in this playthrough. I've decided not to buy the Rhino, mostly because Rhino is overpowered, and while having an overpowered weapon is cool, it kinda cheeses the game, plus it makes the final boss a joke. An absolute joke. Plus, yeah, it makes the final act of the game piss easy. So, we want to have some challenge in this game, so we won't be buying the Rhino. I hope I stay true to this promise, because I haven't recorded all the footage yet for this game, so there may be a situation when I'm like, oh shit, I have nothing to do, let's grind for Rhino for a couple hours.
I said, look, the plumber's back.
Alright, wise guy. Shouldn't you be on one of them escape transports?
Escape transports?
Newsflash, giant robots attacking! The escape transports are taking all the rich folks off this god-darn planet.
So why aren't you on one?
Socioeconomic disparity.
What?
He hasn't got enough bolts.
Working people have to wait for Captain Quark to save us.
Well, got anything worth a lot of bolts?
I got this thing. Shows two weirdos ditching their ship. It's got coordinates to a desert planet, too.
An infobot. Ratchet, we could use that.
So, this is the beginning of a trend in the Ratchet Clank series. You will find some people who want bolts for something that you need. In this case, we had to pay 500 bolts for an infobot that will lead us to our next planet. However, as you have noticed earlier, our ship is completely destroyed, so right now we have no means to travel to Aridia.
Probably in your honor.
Whoa, that was close.
However, this planet also has a second mission, and maybe if we beat that mission, we will have an access to a new ship. Who knows?
Let's hamstring.
Did you see that guy on the left? That was Skid McMarks.
Does he know Captain Quark?
I doubt it. He's a pro hoverboarder, always going off about how cool he is.
Looks like he's in trouble.
I'll say. I've never seen him look so freaked out.
Gadgetron infobot.
So that's our first mission done. Now it's time to save the chairman of this planet,
Get there.
who in the rebook is Skid McMarks' uncle, for some reason. But oh well. It's time to slide down the sewer pipe. Geronimo! As you can see, I have 1,000 and nearly 900 bolts, which could allow me to buy a new weapon. However, bolt collecting is kinda annoying in the first game, because you gain so little. That changes in the sequel. However, when it comes to bolts in the first game, you have to be cost efficient. You have to carefully plan out what to buy and when to buy, and what sections you actually travel to have a clear path of bolt collecting. What I said doesn't make sense, but basically you need to be saving your bolts for effective weapons. Because this game is fairly easy, I won't be buying majority of the weapons in the game. I only will be buying the blaster, the pyro sitter, the devastator, and maybe a gold version of pyro sitter, and that's it. Those 3 weapons can carry you for the entire game. Because this game doesn't contain the RPG elements which are introduced in the sequels. Therefore, the enemies don't get that much stronger later in the game. Because in the sequels, when you upgrade your weapon, it will carry you for some planets, and then it instantly becomes useless, because the further you are in the game, the more powerful enemies become, and the weapon which you bought early in the game is useless. It literally is weak, so we have to buy a new weapon. That's why when we eventually record Ratchet 2, you will see much bigger arsenal. But yeah, our first weapon is the bomb glove. It's our default weapon we start the game with, and it's quite effective for first few levels. However, starting with Metropolis, I'll buy a blaster, and then the pyro sitter, which is very useful in one mission on Aridia. And yeah, we'll be pretty much set for majority of the game until the Devastator pops up, which I think pops up after the end of Act 1. Yeah, this game is divided into 3 acts, and you can clearly tell which boss is the act-ending one. But yeah, Novalis is attacked by pretty weak robots. One hyper strike with your wrench instantly kills those yellow bots, and Bomb Glove is very good against the bees, especially when they are in groups, because you can take the entire, like, you know, crew. Also, you might notice I am doing those weird side flips. That's because that actually propels Ratchet a bit faster forward. And that's a speedrunning trick. When we get the helipack, you will see something called neutral long jumps, which will propel me forward even faster. But yeah, there are means to go forward faster than the normal means, and I'd like to thank speedrunners for finding out those sacred techniques.
Here, take my infobot. It's all I've got left.
Sir, we're not assassins.
Hold on, let's see what he's got.
So, not so fun fact. My friends originally told me that this is Captain Quark's death, and the one we see in the game is actually a clone. And they said that the reasoning is, oh, Captain Quark has different eyes. And I'm like, the fucking video was in black and white. You see, my friends back in the day weren't so bright. Well, they couldn't beat Ratchet 2. They couldn't beat the final boss.
You said it, pal.
Who's piss easy, by the way, seriously.
Come to Al's RoboShack in Metropolis for all your robotic repairs. Al's RoboShack, it's Quarktastic.
But yeah, we have our next clue regarding Captain Quark's location.
No, it means
Big Al's RoboShack on planet Kerwin.
If we had a ship.
Or Caldera if you are following the beta version.
Not going to torture me.
Playing the beta version. Revox, you dipshit, use your English correctly.
you can count on us.
Well, once I pass the shyness of creating playthroughs in English, then I'll be accustomed to using much improved English. So yeah, because we saved the Germans behind, we now have access to a courier ship, which will allow us to travel to different worlds. However, we are not leaving Novalis yet. That's because I'm gonna do a completely optional and a completely useless section of this level. Because I need some balls. Because we will be traveling to Metropolis next, and you'll be doing some purchases there. Not just weapons, but also plot important items like swing shot and helipack. And I remember that the swing shot costs 1000 bolts and helipack costs 1500 bolts. So yeah, I don't want to be bankrupt because farming for bolts in the first game is not pleasant. You don't have access to an arena. You have no access to any side activities which pays you in bolts. Well, there are those hoverboard races, but as far as I remember, they don't actually pay you for winning, which is kinda shit. It only allows you to get a skill point, which in the end, I'm not gonna get it in this playthrough. And I do apologize for those flickers on the screen. It has something to do with me disabling syncing options on my FrameMeister, and I am doing that because that syncing option is the biggest reason why certain capture cards don't cooperate with PlayStation 2, especially HD PVR. So when the screen syncs up, it doesn't actually refresh the entire screen and resolution, it only flickers, which helps me greatly because once the fucking thing refreshes, goodbye recording footage. It corrupts. I fucking hate having HD PVR and recording certain footage. It didn't even like static images, like the static screen, because then it will crash the entire recording software. Has HD PVRs improved lately? Because nowadays, it's like the worst one you can get when it comes to HD capture cards. That and AverMedia Live Gamer Portable 2, which fucking is a beast which devours your CPU. Seriously, if you have a decent computer, but not decent enough, that fucking thing will melt your processor so fast, you won't even have time to beat Sonic in the Bible games. I have no idea what I just said, but that makes for a perfect ending of this, what may be a terrible playthrough. So, I hope you enjoy this part, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Revox1256, and I am signing out. Goodbye.